Straight Talk with your host, Reggie B. Come on, let's all join in. Free your voice, it's your choice, all right here. Oh, Simply Straight Talk.
What's going on, Simply Straight Talk family? We are back with another show for you, and we appreciate the love. Now, let me tell you the topic of today. Men and women, the competition. We need to spread some love with this topic. Have you noticed how an innocent conversation between men and women can quickly turn into a verbal boxing match? Reggie, help spread some peace and love on this situation.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Simply Straight Talk show. And today we are talking about men versus women, the competition. Amber, you are so right. There has to be a way to spread some love on this situation. Now, for those of you who are not aware, or who have been living underneath a rock, you have to have noticed that there is so much tension in today's society, not just racial tension, not just political tension, but there is just this really strong tension between men and women. And, as Amber said in the introduction, it's like when some men and women sit down today, it literally turns into a verbal boxing match. And a lot of this has gone beyond what the norm used to be for men and women, just competition. Now is like even embedded into the job market, is flown into the homes, relationships between girlfriend and boyfriends, husband and wife, even in the entertainment industry, there is a competition between men and women. Now, there was always a competition in these areas, but now it just seems to be highlighted and involved to the point to where we got women saying that they don't need men and men are not needed. And we now have men saying that we don't need women. Now, I'm just trying to figure out how either group can say that they don't need the other, because in reality, women, you need men. Men, you need women. How can you say that you don't need each other when we do? Now, this brings me to my next point. Now, when you got men and women, you got the competition, you got men and women who feeling that they don't need each other, there seems to be a struggle behind all this tension. Now, there's a couple of things that seems to be igniting these struggles between men and women. One, power and control. That can be in the job, that can be at home, that can be in relationships in general. Who wants to be in control? Who wants to have the power? Then we got to deal with, a position in life. Where do you sit? Are you comfortable? Are you happy with where you are? Do you feel like you need a position, or are you just comfortable being you? Other thing is respect. Do men and women have respect for each other these days? Are we willing to show respect for each other? And what do men and women define as respecting each other? Because you got to remember, each person has their own idea of what they consider to be respect and how they want to be respected. Now, these last two things, I think, is probably one of the biggest things. One is there's a redefining of roles between men and women in today's societies. Remember, this is not the 1950s, 1960s. This is not even the 1970s and 80s. So we have a redefining of roles between men and women in the household, men and women on the job, men and women in relationships, period, when it comes to being together. Now, this last one, I've heard a lot of people say it. Men say it, I've heard women say it, but a lack of support. So has that triggered people to become who they are and their outlooks on the opposite sex as far as men and women? Now, another thing that I've noticed, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to tension between men and women, I have sort of discovered by conducting a few surveys with some people that there are trigger words that can make a man or woman feel like, I don't like that, or their interpretation of the word could make the man or woman feel like you're disrespecting me. You don't care about me. You think little of me. So what I'm going to do is kind of go over those words so you'll kind of get an idea, and you can just let me know whether you agree or disagree. Now, for men, the trigger words for men that can kind of make them shut down or become defensive with a woman is when a woman use the word independent, strong. Now, independent, she's referring to herself. Strong, she's referring to herself. Weak, she's referring to the man. Money, she's speaking money in general. And got my own, and I want to be labeled as a queen. Okay. Now, those are the words for men that could possibly trigger a little defense mechanism within the men. Now, for the women, here are the words for the women that could possibly trigger a defensive reaction from them. The word submissive, the word feminine, the word entitled, attitude, non approachable, and king. Now, we have all heard men say, I want to be treated like a king. And women say, I want to be treated like a queen. But when men and women say that to each other, when a man says, I want to be treated like a king, a woman comes back, well, what are you doing? What are you bringing to the table for me to treat you like a king? Well, I want to be treated like a queen. So here's what we got to remember. Each person is going to have their own interpretation of what a queen is supposed to be treated like from their perspective concerning them. And the same thing for a man. He wants to be treated like a king. Okay? That's from his perspective. That's for him. Every man is not going to, they may have some similarities regarding how they want to be treated, and even women. They're going to have some similarities in how they want to be treated like a queen. But it's always going to be that little thin line that kind of separates them from other women and other men. Oh, their definition of how am I going to be treated like a king or a queen? What does it take? I mean, and to tell the truth, do you really want to be treated like a king or queen? Now, normally when you think of a king or queen, you think of somebody pampering them, always at their side, always, whatever they mess up, somebody's there to clean up, somebody's there to dress them. Is that really what you want? So you got to be careful with with the words you use. So you say you want to be treated like a queen, do you really want that? Or is there something more tangible to that you want? And the same thing applies for men. If you say you want to be treated like a king, what is it that needs to be done for you to feel like a king? So putting aside all of the pampering stuff, and that's here or there, is it how you're communicated to? Do you want to feel enlightened, or do you want to feel challenged? Do you want to feel like you're engaging in intelligent conversations? Will that make you feel like a king? And for a woman, what is it? Is it be told that you're special? Better communication regarding your day. What do you want? You want somebody that's going to be supportive of your goals and your aspirations. Would that make you feel like a queen? Somebody who is understanding and observant of you. Would that make you feel like a queen? See, it's different things. Everybody's going to have a different approach. Now, for the women, if a man says, I want a woman that's going to make me feel, I want a woman that's feminine and will make me feel strong. And I think the thing for most women is when they hear the word feminine, it's like, oh, so you want me to be somebody weak. You just want some little woman running around here, just doing nothing, falling behind you. No. Feminine means you're just being a woman. Because think about this, women. No man wants a woman who walks like him, talks like him, and acts like him. That's not a woman. A woman is feminine. She has feminine qualities. And being feminine for a woman doesn't make you weak. It just means you're ladylike. But see, for a man, when a woman says that I'm strong, then here comes the thing of, okay, she's a strong woman. But what does strong mean? Now, I'm going to tell you this. I heard a woman say one day, and I follow her on Instagram. She says, men don't understand me because they can't take a strong woman. And I'm starting to think like a strong woman. So she goes on to explain that I keep it real. I say what I want to say. And, it don't matter how I say it as long as I say it. But the thing about it is, a real man, you don't mind a strong woman. You don't mind a woman that sticks up for you and sticks up for her and sticks up for her values and for her beliefs. But there's another thing when you got a woman who has to curse every 5 words. Everywhere you go, she has to curse. So you got to understand, if you're saying you're being strong, there's a difference between being a strong woman in values versus a strong woman in hood. You get what I'm saying? There's a difference. There's a difference. Cursing and yelling and being loud and talking about guns and acting all thuggish, that's not strong. That's not strong. And you're not going to find a man that wants that. You're not. And men, for us, the word independent. Now, when we hear a woman say, oh, I'm independent, I don't need this, I don't need that. Well, we can't get too caught up into that when a woman says, I'm independent. It doesn't mean that she, doesn't want you. It doesn't mean that she doesn't care about you. Now, sometimes it's going to depend on how she says it. Okay. Because a woman can say, if a man says, well, tell me about yourself. Well, I'm independent. I am independent. I like doing this. I like doing that. I take care of this. I take care of that. It doesn't mean that she doesn't want a relationship. It doesn't mean that she doesn't want a man. It just basically means that, listen, I can handle my own. I can hold my own. I'm not looking for a man to come in to have to pay my bills. I'm not looking for a man to come in and have to do everything and me have to depend on him every step of the way. I'm just letting you know that I can hold my own, and together we should be able to build something because I'm a financially secure, independent woman. You're a financially secure, independent man. Put that together. Let's build a nation together. Our nation, our own nation. So a woman being independent is not a bad thing. A woman being strong is not a bad thing. So, we have to understand that. We got to there's just seem to be some miscommunication between the two when certain words are used. Now, based on the people I talked to, the words for the men and the words for the women, these were the words that they felt like when I hear the other person say this, it kind of makes me cringe a little bit because it seems like they're trying to insinuate something or they're trying to say something. So words like this can kind of spark some underlying tension that's not meant to be there, but because of the way it is interpreted by each person, it ends up bringing off a negative aspect to the conversation. And we seem to both take it the wrong direction. I was watching The View one day, and they said they asked a group of men, if you're married, do you feel you're entitled to sex from your wife? Well, and the men said yes. Okay, so the women on The View were saying, oh, so, I owe him. That means he owns me if he feels like he entitled. And that's what they were saying. I'm like, no, no, no. I mean, if you're married, do you not feel that if you're a woman and you're married, do you not feel like you're entitled to sex from your husband? And if you're a man and you're married, do you not feel like you're entitled to sex from your wife? If your spouse don't feel like they're entitled to sex from you, then who are they entitled to get sex from? You might want to ask yourself that. But the key thing was the word entitled seemed to disturb the women of The View, where they felt the word mean ownership. Whereas a man, if you say, do you feel that you should be entitled to have sex with your wife? To a man, it means, yes, I feel like I have the right to have sex with my wife. Do you not agree that you should be able to have sex with your partner when you want to? Now, granted, not that you're trying to force yourself or take it, but, if you're in the mood and she's in the mood and she's willing and you're willing, then yes, you should be entitled to have sex. But the word entitled turned into all of a sudden, well, he doesn't own me and she doesn't own me. And that's not what it means. So that's why I say when we talk about tension between men and women, a lot of times it's a miscommunication of words, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Now, I got to be honest with you. Now, there is one thing that really turns me off when I hear a woman says it, and I've heard a woman say, I met this woman. She was really nice, and you know what she told me? She says, well, my son, and her son was like 8 years old. He's the man of the house, so he runs things. And to me, that was a red flag. That was a red flag. Because anytime an 8-year-old child is considered to be the man of the house, when another man comes in, that's going to create a struggle because that little kid is going to think that he is a man and thinking he knows man responsibilities. And I don't understand why a grown man should have to compete with a little kid over who's the man of the house. But there is tension, and we're going to dig deeper into this. In the second part of the show, coming up, we are going to talk a little more about position and respect and redefining roles and lack of support. And we're going to talk about power and control because we need to get an understanding of what people are trying to do, what men and women want, and how they want to do it and how they plan on achieving it. All right, so we will be right back after this. So you just stick right here on Simply Straight Talk.
This is Simply Straight Talk with your host, Reggie, bringing the conversation straight to you.
Hey, are you looking for some great music, upbeat and with a positive voice? Well, the song I Stand With You is exactly what you need. This timeless song has a pop version sung by Audrey Carmel. And a reggae version sung by General Steele, now known as Revelation.
Now I know some days you may feel blue, Lord. Trust in your greatness to see you through.
These songs are now available on iTunes and other digital platforms for download. Don't miss out. Get your copy today.
Give life your best, and I know.
We're back with the conversation starter and the voice that works harder. Your host, Reggie.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the second half of the show. And as always, if you missed the first half, here's a quick recap. Today, we're talking about men and women. We're talking about the struggle and tension between us, the competition, because it's very clear that today we do have an issue with men and women being able to coincide together in different aspects of life. And we listed a few things, and we're about to break those down right now. We talked about power and control. And this is not just people wanting power control in a relationship, power control in a job, power control in the economy. It's just there's a huge struggle right now. And, we have to figure out that, there are some things that men are good at. There are some things that women are good at. We both have strengths and weaknesses. And we just have to find a way to embrace another person's strength and support another person's weakness without feeling like we're being dominated, because that's not the case. If you're in a relationship and you got one person that's really good with money, or you got one person that's making more money, a real person with a good heart is able to understand that, yes, I have a good mate, I have a good person, I may be making more money, but it doesn't mean that I control or rule anything. It just means that I have the ability to support more things right now, but we do it as a team. Both people are bringing something to the table. It's a matter of understanding each other's weaknesses and each other's strong point. The next thing we talked about was position. Now, this is something that I've seen a lot of lately. Because at one point, it was easy just to introduce like, hey, this is my girlfriend, this is my boyfriend, this is my fiance, my husband, my wife. Well, now people want more of an introduction. It's not good enough just to be a husband or a wife. I mean, it's not good enough just to be a girlfriend or boyfriend. It's like now you have to say, hey, this is my wife, Julia. She's the owner of a jewelry store. She's the CEO of 4 companies, and it's the same for my husband. This is my husband. He's the owner of this. This is the person of this, or he does this. It's so much labeling now has to go into who we are to establish us as having a position. So we're not just being seen as a person or a husband or a wife. There's nothing wrong with saying this is my wife or this is my husband, but it's now everything has to be labeled even further. And because everybody's jockeying for a position, because now if someone says it's a wife, I guess some women are assuming that if you tell a group of people that, well, if you just introduce as this is my wife, the outlook is, oh, well, she's a housewife. No, just as somebody saying this is my wife, she can still own a business. But some people now just want deeper establishment as being a person who has some sort of position in life. And there's nothing wrong to want to have a position in life, but it shouldn't be a competition. And I understand that if you're a person that maybe hasn't reached your goals yet or accomplished what you wanted to accomplish, but your mate maybe is sort of well established or out there, a corporate leader, people know their names. So when you go places, you may have that fact of people saying, oh, let's put it like this. If I was married to Kalita Smith, everybody knows Kalita Smith. They would be like, oh, your wife is Kalita Smith. Oh, they would naturally assume because she's this beautiful actress, this beautiful woman, she's making tons of money, she's on TV, that I'm probably just some sit at home person. When in fact, I could have my own business that's just not in the limelight. But that's how some people perceive it when they see you with someone who has a position of status. The next thing is respect. A lot of men and women feel like we don't respect each other anymore. We don't respect each other. We don't know how to treat each other. You hear women saying now that chivalry is dead and it doesn't exist. You got men saying that, yeah, we'll do chivalry, but you don't appreciate it. So there's a lot of verbal boxing going on when it comes to this. I think men and women do respect each other, but I think it's a fact that it's changing because now you have to look at the individual. Because remember, some women don't like doors being open for them. I can open the door myself. I can pour my own drink. I can fix my own breakfast. I can pay for my own dinner. So it's kind of a balance. You have to kind of figure out who you're with. And the same thing for women. You got to figure out the man that you're with. You got some men who do cook for themselves. I don't need you to cook for me. I don't need you to clean. I can pick up behind myself. So you got different aspects of what a person considers as being respected and what it takes for them to feel like they respect me. To me, having a woman that respects me is she defends our relationship. She looks at me as a person. She treats me as her husband, her helpmeet, her mate, her spouse, her love. To me, that is the respect I would want. I don't need other people influence on that. So respect has to come from the individual. And like I said, and today, men and women, we're facing changes in our society that many people are not prepared for or really even open to, which brings me into redefining of roles. Men are no longer the sole breadwinners in a household. Women are bringing in the bread nowadays. And you got some men who are making less than women, and women are no longer being satisfied as the woman who cooks and takes care of home, the family and the husband. She wants to be out there in the corporate offices. She wants to be out there establishing herself. And she wants to show that she's capable of doing what men can do. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But like I said, this is all about the individual person. You cannot generalize this by all men are this way, all women are this way, because you're going to have some men who feel like, wow, I want a woman that stays at home. Some men are like, hey, I like a woman who gets out there and gets on her grind. You got some women who are wealthy and feel like, you know what, I can handle this. I'd rather you stay home, take care of what needs to be taken care of. Now, as a man, I could never do that. But some men can, and some women like that. Or some women prefer the man just to be able to do the average job or just something they keep busy. Women are stepping forward in society, but how some men may be viewed because of this is that they are weak. If a man cannot carry the financial load, they feel that he is weak. And it's tough because a man needs to feel masculine. And women at one point wanted to feel feminine. Now women are kind of like feminine, but there's a little masculinity moving in there. So it's a conflict and it's tough. And like I said, this is all going to go back to understanding the person you're with. Because you got to remember, as we told before, women nowadays are not really about the whole submissive and feminine things. They're becoming a little more into sports. So you find a lot of women talking about sports and talking about the stuff that men talk about. So it's kind of like the roles are changing. Who's the head of the household? You see it every day in society. It is changing. It is changing. And we have to adapt, but like I said, to the point to where we're not taking down the other or feel like we have to crush one person or one group in order to elevate another. And the other thing is lack of support. And this is a big issue between African-American men, black men, and African-American women, black women. We feel we just don't support each other. But I feel like this is something that's felt by most men and women when it comes to each other. Men feeling that they don't get support from women that they should get. They don't feel like women are backing them up. They don't feel like women has their back. And women are feeling the same way. We're like, hey, I want to step out. I want to do something. I want to change my life. And I don't feel like a man is really ready to support me in that. Men and women have to realize that at some point we have to find a way to work together. We have to find a way to bridge the gap. And supporting each other is tough because if you have a man who feels like, wow, I can't do what I'm supposed to do. I can't provide. I can't pay. I can't take us on vacations. I can't take us on trips. He sees his wife's friends doing all of these great things and he can barely keep them afloat. It's going to be hard for him to support you. And I'm not defending this, but I'm just saying emotionally, he may feel like it's challenging. He may feel like he's going to feel like he's not upholding what he needs to do. And because of that, it's going to be tough for him. So he may not be able to give you the support that you really need. And it's going to be the same thing for a woman. If she's trying to do something for her life, or maybe her friends have all got college degrees, or all her friends have their own business, or they're being more successful, or they're doing things that makes her feel like they're moving forward, but she's standing still, she's going to be the same way. She's going to feel like, wow, how can I support? I'm barely making it myself, trying to keep myself emotionally and spiritually uplifted. I have to try to pass some on to him, and I'm just drained. I just don't feel like I have it. It's hard to support somebody when I feel like I can't do for myself. You know what I mean? So it's tough. It's really tough. But we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with the final thoughts.
You're listening to Simply Straight Talk.
Right, Simply Straight Talk family. We want to return the love you have shown us back to you. Reggie will be giving away great prizes during certain Simply Straight Talk podcast shows, so make sure you subscribe and listen to the show for your chance to win. Just imagine being able to take 4 people to the movies, a free night in a hotel, a gift card with cash for a restaurant, or one of our Simply Straight Talk podcast shirts. There will be other prizes as well. For more information, visit our website at www.rmviaging.com and click on Simply Straight Talk Podcast in the menu.
Are you ready for the straight truth? Reggie, what's the final word for today?
Hey, welcome back to Simply Straight Talk, and this is the final thoughts of today. As we all go through life, we're going to realize that there is a lot of tension between men and women, but it doesn't mean that as men and women, we can't coincide together. We can't work together. We can't keep building lives together. When we get to the point when we finally say that, men and women are no longer allowed to want or need or have each other, then you're saying that this world does not need love. You're saying that this world does not need children. We do not need a future. We have to understand that men and women do need each other. We've always needed each other. Now, the ways this world has sort of brought us up and some of the things that have taken place has led to a lot of this tension, but it doesn't mean that it has to exist. It doesn't mean that we have to prolong it. So you know what? The more videos and angry messages we send about each other, the further apart we're going to divide. And the biggest thing is, men and women are stronger as one than we are as 2 divisive groups fighting each other, when we can really be uplifting each other and encouraging each other. I refuse to believe that to empower one group means to have the demise of another group. So let's work on that. Let's focus on the fact that, we can stop it. We don't have to make hate videos. We don't have to make angry videos. We don't have to assume that all men and all women are evil. We just need to face the fact that we have to learn to work together. And we have to acknowledge the fact that men and women are individuals. Even though all men are men, a man is a man, a woman is a woman, we're still individuals. And a big part of that is getting to know the individual that you're inviting into your life. Hey, thank you for joining us. And don't forget, join us this week right here on Simply Straight Talk. Hey, love you guys, and I appreciate all of the love and support. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to today's show. Be sure to subscribe for more motivational topics based on real-life conversations, and don't forget to rate, review, and share our show so we can continue to bring you the best in real-life conversations. Join us next week right here on Simply Straight Talk.
Simply Straight Straight Talk with your host Reggie B. Come on, let's all join in. Free your voice, it's your choice, alright here. Oh, simply straight talk.